Recording in progress.
Okay. So for consumer protection, like I said earlier, if government is not coming up with different consumer protection policies, consumers becomes vulnerable to businesses. So what are those things that businesses would do if there is no consumer protection? Number one, they will increase price as high as possible because they don't have competitors. If part of consumer protection is competitive policy or anti-competitive practices. So if government is against anti-competitive practices, it means a lot of business, there's no barriers to entry. That allows different firms to set up in such country. That's number one. Two, price fixing, where a number of firms agree to fix the price of a product to avoid, they come up with cartel. We call it cartel. So they agree to sell at the same price. So when you go to shop A, it will sell the same as shop B or shop C. So we wouldn't have any choice than to buy at that price. So they are doing that to fend off competition. Do you get it? The third one, restricting consumer choice by market sharing. So we will produce this, we produce that. We agree to produce product A, the other business will produce product B, the other business will produce product C. So you wouldn't find any other choice than either to buy A, B, or C. Do you get it?
Yes.
Raising barriers to entry by spending huge amounts of money on advertising. So, especially in like the communication industry. Like, okay, let's talk about the mobile industry, where we have Apple, we have Samsung, and the rest of them. So it's supposed to be competitive. But when you look at the market for the industry of mobile, it is oligopoly. You have few large firms, few large businesses dominating that industry. Yes or no? So the industry for mobile is dominated by maybe Apple and Samsung. The rest are there, but they cannot withstand the kind of advertisement companies like Apple and Samsung does. Do you understand?
Yes.
So these are anti-competitive practices. So all these if government comes up with them, it will protect consumers and makes them not to be vulnerable to businesses. Is it clear? So you scroll down, please. You already said competition policy. Government should try to promote competition. This helps to prevent anti-competitive practices and consumer exploitation. How might they do this? Government can come up with different policies by encouraging the growth of small firms. So government would allow small firms to start up. Government will sponsor small firms. Government will subsidize for small firms so that they can compete with large firms in that industry. Doing that would make them to be able to compete on a larger scale with existing businesses or big businesses. Two, lower barriers to entry. Government will ensure that they remove or lower barriers, the ability for businesses to set up or to go into that industry. If there are barriers to setting up in an industry, then less businesses will be able to set up. That reduces competition. Do you understand? Introduce anti-competitive legislation. Government will come up with different laws that might stop monopoly, or that would erase monopoly. Because some businesses will come up in an industry, business A, B, C can come up together and merge. They can merge together to create monopoly. So government might stop such policy. Government might stop such practice by not allowing integration. Do you get the point? We might have 7 businesses in this industry. Let's say we have 7 schools in this industry, in the industry of education. So school A, B, and C might want to come together. Doing that would make them to have more customers than the others. And they become so strong. So government might not allow that to happen because it reduces competition in the market. That is what the point is saying about here. Is it clear? Environmental legislation. When we talk about environmental legislation, government might come up with different laws to protect the environment against pollution. That is the environmental legislation. Is it clear? But we have different kinds of pollution. We have air pollution, water pollution, land pollution, and the rest. So government might come up with different laws to protect the environment. Because if land is polluted, the environment is polluted. If water is polluted, the environment is polluted. If the air is polluted, the environment is polluted. I think it's clear.
Yes.
Then we have trade policy. For trade policy, they said, despite the benefit of international trade, governments sometimes believe that it is in the nation's interest to restrict trade. So there's international trade, which means free trade. But sometimes government would think twice and say, oh no, we need to restrict certain activity in terms of trade in our country. Then they come up with different trade barriers. Are you there, please?
Yes.
So they said this is called protectionism and might be used to, one, protect jobs if foreign competitors threaten the survival of domestic producers. Why do government come up with trade policies? They come up with trade policies to protect, one, the jobs of people in that country. Because if foreign companies come up, if foreign businesses set up in the country, they attract local domestic workers. So attracting domestic workers means local businesses might be losing their best workers to foreign businesses. And as a result, local businesses might become, they become less productive. And within a short period of time, they are out of business because they've lost their most productive workers to foreign businesses. So the government will come up with policies to stop that. Protect infant industries. New industries like new businesses coming up, government might use trade policy to protect them by not allowing foreign businesses to set up in such country. The third one, prevent dumping. When you talk about dumping means you buying foreign products. When a situation where foreign products becomes more or less expensive to local products. Just imagine they make phone in Libya. Phone is being made in Libya. And the price of phones in Libya is even more expensive than the phones you are importing from other countries. Let's say from China, you are importing phones from China, and it's cheaper than the domestic ones. That is dumping. Because it is expected that imported products should be more expensive than local products. Yes or no? Yeah. So when imported products become less expensive than foreign products, it is dumping, which is illegal in some countries. Is it clear? That's what they are saying. They said prevent dumping where foreign producers sell goods below cost in the domestic market. Raise the revenue from tariffs. Another reason why government might come up with trade protectionism, like tariffs, is to raise more revenue. So if you want to, government would not stop you from importing from Dubai, importing from China, importing from America, but you have to pay tariffs on it. As a result, government will be generating revenue.